Now we are going to look at the urinary system, but the first thing that we are going to talk about is going to be the description of the structure of the kidney, the structure of the urinary system. The urinary system is made up of the kidney, it's made up of the arteries, those are the renal arteries, the renal veins. It's made up of the ureter and the bladder and then the urethra. Those are the major component of the urinary system. So when we start above looking at the kidneys, we have two kidneys. Organisms have two kidneys, the left kidney and the right kidney. And they are supplied with blood vessels. There is the renal artery, which supplies blood from the heart to the kidneys, and then there is also the renal vein. That one is the one that removes blood from the kidney, taking it back to the blood circulatory system. And then from the kidney, there is a tube that comes out that brings collected material, and that is what we call the ureter. It connects the kidney to the bladder. The bladder is a sac-like structure which holds the urine, and then from the urine it is passed out via the urethra, and that is what we call the urinary system. Urinary system made up of the kidney, it's made up of the ureter, made up of the bladder, and it's also made up of the urethra, with the supply of blood by the renal artery and then also removal of blood by the renal vein. Now when we look at the structure of a kidney itself, and we may be looking at one kidney, you will see that the kidney is a bean shaped. It is in form of a bean shape. It is bean shaped, and it lies inside the abdominal cavity. Inside the abdominal cavity, that is in our abdomen, that's where it lies, and it is supplied by the renal artery. That is, the blood is supplied by the renal artery, and the blood is removed by the renal vein. So when you look at the kidney, it has three areas. It has the cortex, it has the medulla, and it has the pelvic. Now in the cortex, this is where we find the glomeruli, and it is also where we find the most supply of blood. Most blood capillaries are found in the cortex. Now from the cortex you come down to the medulla. In the medulla, that's where we find the collecting duct, and also the proximal convoluted U-tube of the U-lobe of the convoluted tube, the tube collecting tubes, and the lobe, U-lobe of the kidney, and then we have the pelvis. The pelvis, it's where all the collecting duct pour their content, and then it is carried to the urethra out of the kidney. So we have said that the urinary system is made up of the kidney, it's made up of the ureter, which connects the kidney to the bladder, and then the bladder is the one that collects all the urine, and then it is taken out of the body via the urethra. We have seen that blood is supplied by the renal artery, and then it is removed from the kidney by the renal vein. Now we have looked at the structure and say that the structure of the kidney is having three areas. It has the cortex, where we find the glomerulus, and it has the medulla. In the medulla, it's where we find the collecting ducts, and then also the U-loop, and then we have seen that it also has the pelvis, where all the content of the collecting duct is poured, and then it is carried to the ureter where it is transferred to the bladder. We have seen that it is a bean shaped, that is the kidney, and it lies inside the abdominal part or abdominal cavity of the body. So you find that also that the structure and the functional unit of the kidney are the nephrons. Those are the structure and functional unit of the kidney. So after seeing the structures and the content of the urinary system and the structure of the kidney, next time when we come back, we shall talk about the structures of the nephron.